Namaste. I am Dr. Sinduri. Om Dhanvantre Namaha. Today I'll be talking about the fundamental concepts or basic concepts of Ahara and spirituality. Ayurveda. Ayurveda, the word Ayurveda can be divided into two sub words like Ayur and Veda. Ayu can be correlated with the life, but according to me, the life exact meaning of Ayu instead of life we can tell as living, means the living. And Veda generally, if we translate into the English, the meaning comes as science. But exactly, Veda is the science is so small word where we can't equalize to Veda. Veda means knowledge, jnana. So Ayurveda is knowledge of living. Means how not only increasing your lifespan, but the way you live in your day-to-day life, everything. Ayurveda gives the knowledge of living. That Mrityu is Satya. Everyone knows the truth. Death is the known truth to everyone. But how to postpone the death. And not only postponing our death, but how to be healthy till our death. That is the main concept where Ayurveda concentrates. And by postponing the Mrityu, we can walk towards our sadhana, like achieving Chatur Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, which is the ultimate goal of every human being. The main aim of Ayurveda is Swastasya Swasthya Rakshana, Aturasya Vikara Prashamana. Ayurveda is not just a medicine. It is not just a medicine. Ayurveda looks into both preventive and curative aspects of the diseases. See, Swastasya Swasthya Rakshana means maintaining the health in a healthy individual is the first aim. And the next, Ayurveda looks into the deceased person to cure the disease in a deceased person. So, Ayurveda looks into both preventive and curative aspects of the diseases. So, Swasthya. When we hear the word Swasthya, it is also can be divided into two, Swa and Sthya. Swa is oneself. Sthya is to stay. To stay with ourselves is called Swasthya. It is not just a exact translation of Swasthya equals to health. No, to stay with us, to see ourselves from inside, what we are, where we need to change ourselves. This is the main. Ayurveda tells a definition for Swasthya person. He is a Swasthya Purusha. If you want to tell him as a Swasthya Purusha, we can tell like it goes like Samadhatu, Samagni, Samadhatu, Samagnischa, Samadhatu Malakriyah, Prasanna Atma Indriya, Manasa Swastha Ityabhidiyate. The first line, the Ayurveda tells about the Swasthya condition of the Sthula Sharira. And the second line, it tells about the Sukshma Sharira. Sthula Sharira, we can see here, Samadosha. In Ayurveda, we consider these are the basic things, three doshas, Vata, Pitta and Kapha. These should be in Sama Avastha, in a stabilized condition in our body. And coming to Agni, Sama Agni. Agni means we can correlate it with the majorly digestive fire. But we even consider the metabolic activity, metabolic rate of the body which is happening in the body. From cellular level to organ level, whatever metabolism is happening in the body, that we can correlate here in this definition. That should also be in stabilized condition. And Samadhatu, dhatu, These are the main elements, seven dhatus are there in Ayurveda. Rasa, that is what we take, the ahara, the nutrition essence, rasa. From that, rakta, blood, mamsa, muscles, medha, fat, asti, bones, majja, bone marrow, and shukra, semen. And the essence of all these seven dhatus is called as ojas. In this modern science, according to modern science, we can correlate it with immunity. Exactly as I say, nothing can be equally correlated into the modern science. But nowadays, in this pandemic, what we need is, we need ojas to be stabilized in our body. So next, samadhatu is finished. Sama mala. Mala, three malas are there. One is purisha, one is mutra, and sweda. All these three should be eliminated from our body easily, and it should not stay back in our body. As this also should be in sama avastha. If these are all the things are properly there for the sthula sharira, he will be called as swastha purusha. The second line of the shloka, prasanna atma indriya manasa swastha itti abhidiyate, means not only the stability, samavastha of all these factors in our body, even the person has to be having prasannata in his atma, and prasannata in his mana, and prasannata in his indriyas. The panchendriyas, what we call, that also he should have prasannata. Then he is called as swastha purusha or swastha purusha. This is how the Ayurveda defines a swastha purusha. So, the swastha purusha, to maintain the swastha of the healthy individual, Ayurveda gives one trayo upastamba. Traya means three. Upastamba means supporting pillars. These are three supporting pillars for maintaining the health of an individual. There are many factors, but these three are important. One, ahara. Second one, nidra. And third one, it is brahmachari. These three are interconnected, but ahara is given first position, an important position. Why? Why? Because we are what we are from our food. Ahara is our building blocks of our body. Whatever we eat, we are that. And secondly, this is according to this, basically why ahara is a base of life. We all do occupation, everything for the food's sake only. So it is the base of life. Here also it gives the first place why we are here. So meaning of ahara in Ayurveda, they tell that whatever substance or padartha which goes through annanalika, that those are called as ahara. So whatever substance, whatever we eat which goes through the food pipe or esophagus, that is called ahara, they tell. If in Ayurveda we can tell ahara, the outcome of our body is because of ahara. If you are healthy, it is because of your ahara. If you are diseased, it is because of your ahara. Mainly the root cause starts from ahara, the disease. Maybe diseases are various, but the root cause starts from ahara. After that, when it combines with each tissues or each dhatus, doshas, it may take into different directions of the disease's origination, but the root cause will be always ahara. So, majority of the diseases can be controlled by changing little changes in the just little changes in our ahara, following whatever day-to-day life, if we change little bit in our ahara intake and timings and all, we can reduce diseases. So in our Ayurveda, Acharya Kashyapa, he tells ahara as Mahabeshaja. Beshaja means Aushada. Ahara is Maha Aushada. So that is only a Maha Aushada. So with that we can prevent and reduce and stop the disease progress with our changes in our diet. Ahara, it is said to be Shat Indriya Prasadaka. Ahara is Shat Indriya Prasadaka. We'll tell 5 Indriya. We know 5 Indriyas are there. The 6th Indriya is Manas. Even Ahara has direct relation to the Manas. So Ahara nourishes the man physically and mentally. So this is the basic thing about Ahara we need to know. And coming to the healthy food, if you think that today I had a healthy meal, a very satisfying meal, healthy meal, nutritious meal, is that enough? No, right? It is not enough. Not only healthy meal, you should see whether in what time you had, in what quantity you had, in what surrounding you had, in what manner you had, in what place you had. All these matters to call ahara as a healthy what you had. All these factors matters that whether it is a proper ahara which we have taken for our body. So in this we can divide into 3 types. Hita Bhojana, where we will discuss about the rules or points which we need to remember in our day-to-day life. Hita Bhojana, where Hita is like quality of the food. Here we'll discuss about the quality of the food points. And Mita Bhojana, and here we'll see the quantity of the food. And Kala Bhojana, here we see about time and surroundings, place where we need to eat, everything. Come, let's see. Hita Bhojana. Hita Bhojana, quality. Quality, how your food on your plate should be, of what quality it should be. So mainly it should be lukewarm. Whatever you eat, it should be in a lukewarm condition, not too hot, not too cold. Why? Because I'll give you one example. If someone, when you have a lot of work, if someone comes and assists you in that work, how relieved you feel. Same way, our body will feel relieved, because whenever if we take the cold food, the body in our mouth, it should convert into the it should increase temperature to our body's temperature, and then it will send inside to get the digestion done. That only if we give it a same temperature food, our body feel relaxed, right? We are helping our body with eating lukewarm. And one more thing, eating a lukewarm food, it digests easily. It digests easily and quickly, and makes you feel light. And second quality which it should be there in your plate is, it should have snigdha amsha and sneha amsha. Snigdha means moistureness should be there. Whatever you eat, it should contain some moisture content. Like any liquids, like in South India we eat rasam, sambar, or Andhra and all they eat pappu. Like anything moist content. North Indians eat dal. Moisture should be there. And sneha amsha means it's a little bit of fat, oily content should be there. Why? Because if you're trying something to put into the pipe, to pass it through the other side of the pipe, if you put dry substance, will it pass easily? No, right? If we add little bit of oil or grease the pipe or grease the material, it will flow easily. The same concept applies here. If you add little bit of uh, sneha, it will easily get gulped and it will easily flow through. The digestive system, it is very long from mouth to anus, and it has long intestine where the food should go in all stages of digestion, absorption, everything, which helps the snehatva of the food, will help the food to get digested, absorbed, and easily eliminated. Sneha. We have so many snehas in our Ayurveda. So the major and Shrestha superior, we tell Gruta or ghee as superior sneha. Why? Because ghee is the main, it has antioxidants, it is having the Ayurvardaka guna, it is having, mainly ghee has the quality. If you mix one item, like if you mix pepper, it will take all the qualities of pepper into it, and it will be easily absorbed by our body, because all the cells and all the what all cells are there, they are made up of, their outer cell wall is made up of lipid layers. So to absorb, this is also, gruta is also lipid, and cell walls easily it can be absorbed. And gruta can pass blood brain barrier, which is there near the brain and blood vessels. It can easily cross. Our body has a super wonderful mechanism where the brain cells, they will be tightly attached. You can't, not every molecule what you eat, it will not go from blood to brain. There are many macromolecules or micromolecules, those can't enter easily into the brain. But gruta can enter, ghee can enter. That is why we ask children, whoever, toddlers or infants, we ask to put 2-3 drops of gruta whatever they feed, because within 5 years the development of brain will be going on in that span of the kids. So we ask mothers to add 1 or 2 drops of gruta in the food whatever they feed, because what all they eat, it will go to the brain. So gruta is shrestha, and do add gruta in your plate of food. And nowadays so many people are thinking that it has high cholesterol, I should not eat. Oil, I should not eat, it will give fat. That is all, like, you need to think about yourself. This is the commonly, it is a basic concept which all of us know, why this gruta should be there in your body. And nowadays Western culture also, they have introduced clarified butter in their diet. So our gruta, it is from our Puranas, from Vedas. Why can't we use it and get benefits of it? Why we should avoid? So even a quality of food depends on the place where you sit. If the surroundings is pleasing and if the surroundings is calm, you can't eat food in the crowd and all. It will not get absorbed and all. You should be sitting in a peaceful sattvic surrounding, so that good absorption will be there of your food, and good effects from the food will come to our body. So quantity, we'll see about mita bhojana, quantity of the food. So generally a person, how much he should eat, this much, no, it all be told by his body only, depending on the digestive capacity of the person, the food he should take. If he has less digestive capacity, his body will give him intuitions or signals that you need to have less food today, like that. depending on the Agni Bala of the body, he should take the meals. And one of the Acharya Vagbhata, he tells that if we divide our stomach into 4 parts, 2 parts should be filled with solid food, 1 part should be filled with liquid food, and 1 part it should be left empty for the air or vayu or vata, which is the main thing for the digestion. For this, I want to give an example, like in your kitchen, in a mixie jar, if you put full of the anything like chutney or something, if you mix it, will it become a soft paste? No, right? If we leave some space, at least this much, it will grind into a smooth paste. The same concept we can get it here. If we leave space in our stomach, it will get digested properly, and it will, all the next steps will be done easily by our body. And if you are not hungry, you should never eat. Langanam parama aushadam. Langanam parama aushadam. If you give your body, our body will be having capacity to repair and adjust to what all is happening. It will tell, sometimes you feel, right, annadvesha. By seeing food, you don't feel like eating when you're not hungry or indigestion or something. Then you should leave. Langanam should be done. Then our body has capacity to take care of itself and get repaired. Then there is no necessity of the medicine. And main thing is, you should eat only when your previous meal is digested. Without the digestion of previous meal, if you have, it will form a indigested material, and from the which will be the root cause for the diseases. It will cause toxins, and it will be the main root cause for the diseases. How will we come to know whether our previous meal is digested or not? We have some signs for that also. First, you should get Shuddha Udgara, means pure belching. Means when you belch, you should not get that sore belching, or you should not get the rasa of previous food. So if it doesn't happen, when you get pure belching, that is one of the signs that your previous meal is digested. And you should feel lightness. You should feel lightness in your body. And you should feel utsaha, enthusiasm. So we can correlate. Food is related to manas. So if the food is already properly digested, we feel that utsaha, enthusiasm. So see, ahara is related to manas also. And you should feel hunger, and you should feel even thirst at the same time. And at the same time, the vegas, whatever the malas, what we called, those should be excreted from our body. So if these all things happens, you will come to know that my previous meal is digested. And when you have hunger only, you should eat. So coming to the kala, for time also, in Ayurveda, some people tells that whatever we food eat, if we eat, it will get digested in 1 yama. 1 yama can be approximately 3 hours. Within these 3 hours, the food may get digested, but it also depends on our Agni Bala. Need not be 3 hours. If you have nice digestive power, it may get digested before 3 hours. If your digestive power is manda or mild, or with it is not into so fire and all, it may get more than 3 hours. So here kala can be even the time of digestion and all, even the pace of eating. You should not eat too fast or too slow. It should be in a medium pace. You should eat. While eating, You should not talk, you should not laugh, you should not think anything, and mainly nowadays, what everyone does, you should not watch television while eating. Why? Because you should have pure concentration on the food, what you are eating, what it will do to your body. Without the awareness of that food, you can't eat your food. You should not eat. It will go into the indigestion pace. Here, one more point is mental calmness. With full concentration, you need to eat. You should not eat your food when you are in anger, anxiety, fear, tension, or disturbed mind. You should not have your food. If you have your food, then your food will not go into the digestive phases. It will go into the indigestion. If you ask me, then what we should do? Every day we'll be in stress in our job or somewhere. We need to go to meeting, we need to face interview. At that time, what we should do? Yes, when you have some disturbances in your mind, just sit for 2 minutes and take deep breathing for two to three cycles. Then calm your mind. Then tell your mind that now it is a food time. Then your mind will get calm, and then you have food, and then go to the next, whatever the anxiety, stress, or fear, or you need to face anything, you can do that. So main thing is, with full awareness, you should have the food, and you should have a thought that whatever what all I'm eating, it will my body is getting absorbed. With this good thought, if you eat your meal, then you are eating a healthy meal. Just can't we spare just 10 to 15 minutes of our concentration in our day for each meal, for our health purpose? We can do it. So one must, even depending on the seasonal changes, we should change our food habits. In Ayurveda, there is no such balanced diet concept. The one, because of my prakriti, it may suits me, and your prakriti will be different. The one which will suit me, suits me, the food, that may not suit you. So we don't have a definition of balanced diet. It all depends on your prakriti, your agni bala, and the nature, rutu, and dinacharya of your body. Each and everything matters. There is no balanced diet according to Ayurveda, but you should have all shadruchis, rasas in your plate: madura, amla, lavana, katu, tikta, kashaya. All these 6 tastes should be there in a meal. Yes, we do have in our meal. When you observe festival food, you have all rasas in your meal. So your plate should contain all 6 rasas. So these are some rules which we need to keep in our mind in our day-to-day life. So we'll come to some Viruddha Ahara, where we should not, what we are already taking the combination of foods in our day-to-day life and which are very harmful. I'll give few examples. It is actually a big topic, but general mistakes what we do, that example I'm going to give you. Viruddha Ahara means the ahara or combination of ahara, or ahara with season, or combination with other foods, everything which will destroy the stability in the dosha, dhatu, mala, which we seen just before in the health definition, I mean swasthya definition of the Ayurveda. If it disturbs the equilibrium between those all constituents, then that ahara is called as Viruddha Ahara. Majorly what we do, we use milk with yogurt. That is very wrong. We cannot use milk and yogurt together because from milk only yogurt is formed, but there is a process. One samskara had happened from milk to it has converted into yogurt. We cannot mix yogurt and milk. What happens exactly scientifically is, if you take it, the milk precipitates in the stomach and it will become a toxic substance in the body, or indigestion material. It will stay in the stomach as a indigested material. And you should not mix cold and hot foods. Like as of now you get junk food example like what hot chocolate with ice cream. That is completely wrong. You should not have extreme cold and extreme hot combinations. That you should not do. And eating curd at night, that is also not good, because curd is heavy for digestion and it is having the kashaya rasa, amlatva is there. So at night the digestion will be more. Why do we need so much of energy for our body? And it is not good to have curd at night. But still more, our Ayurveda says, take buttermilk. Buttermilk is the best amruta for our body. Here, buttermilk means after taking the butter from the this thing, whatever buttermilk it is remained, that is to be consumed, not just churning the yogurt and consume it. That is not the buttermilk according to Ayurveda. So you can't mix milk and tulsi. That is completely contradictory. You should give at least gap if you want to take tulsi and milk. And you should not take ghee and honey in equal quantities. Either ghee should be more or honey should be more. If you mix equal quantity of ghee and honey, it will be converted into a toxic substance. You can ask me when we are preparing panchamrita, you may ask me, but when other substances are there, it will not matter, because other three will be there, no? In panchamrita, 5 ingredients, 2 are ghee and honey, other 3 will be there. But according to me, add more of honey to get the sweet. So you should not eat refrigerated food. By keeping the food in the refrigerator, it will turn into tamasika ahara. It will turn into tamasika ahara. And all its properties, everything will get diminished. The Agni Guna, what we call Panchamahabhuta, Agni Tattva, what it is, it will be there in food, because we have exposed the food to the fire in cooking. So Agni Tattva, Agni Amsha will be there. So if it is there, our digestion will be easily done. When we keep in fridge, the Agni Amsha will get diminished. And if we eat that food, indigestion will occur because of reduced Agni Tattva in the food. And it will convert into Tamasika. And honey should not be heated. Honey, it should not be heated. It will changes its quality exactly opposite. If what all good properties are there, it will change into toxins. And even after taking honey, you should not drink hot food, or hot fluids should not be taken. Even getting inside, honey will get heated, means the temperature of honey will be changed. That also it is not a good combination. When we are coming to the combinations, we should see even season wise combination is also seen. In the cold season, you should not have any cold items or shita guna like ice creams, cold drinks and all. You should not have it in the cold seasons. And in summer season, you should not have hot food or pungent food or something ushnak, which increases the ushnatva in the body. That you should not take. And when you come to age, the children will be having kapha guna more in them. So for children, the kapha vardaka aharas should not be given. In youngsters, pitta dosha will be predominant. So they should not eat sour, salty and pungent. It will more of that in their diet. If it will increase pitta and it will cause diseases again. In vruddha, in the old age people, vata will be more predominantly. Naturally these are there in child kapha, in youngsters pitta, and vruddhapya it is vata. So we ask old age people not to eat vayu vardhaka aharas. For example, potato, sweet potato, and some grains what we have, which causes vata, we should not have in the old age. Even these should be kept in mind. If you know, if child asks for ice cream, if you give, it is kapha vardhaka, it is a viruddha ahara for child. It may not be a viruddha ahara if they have in limited quantity for elders or adults, I mean youngsters. Like this, you have so many combinations of viruddha aharas. It is a very big topic. I can't tell in a few minutes, but major what we are doing in day-to-day life, that I have concentrated. And even this horse gram and milk is not good. Milk with sour, it is viruddha ahara. Egg and milk viruddha ahara, fish and milk viruddha ahara. There are so many viruddha aharas. Even preparation of food also, how we prepare, if we overcook the food, then it is viruddha ahara. If we less cook the food, it is viruddha ahara. Combinations of food, yes, so many things are related. Whatever we eat, the viruddha ahara. And you can ask me, we are having all these combinations from so many years and we are healthy, nothing has happened to us. For this also there is a concept of satmyata. If we are having regularly, it will get used to our body, but sometimes it may, if your digestive power is very good, and if you had less quantity of what combinations I have told, that you have had less quantity in a lesser quantity, it may not harm you. But at the when you think of it, when it is not good for your body, just avoid the viruddha ahara. So the food has, as we discussed, this food has the relationship with the three doshas, vata, pitta, kapha. Just like that, the food also has its relation with three gunas of our manas. Now we'll be discussing like ahara and spirituality. I had told you in the starting how. I'll tell you now. Sattva guna, Rajasika guna, and Tamasika guna. These are the three gunas of our mind. In these three gunas, Sattvika guna will be a guna. It will never become a dosha or harmful. Only Rajasika and Tamasika, these will become harmful. What I tell is, the person's nature, characters will all depend on these three gunas. We can differentiate. That person has anger more, this person is so lazy, that person is good and he is very service oriented. All these characters are because of these three gunas: sattva, rajas and tamas. So we what I told, our body prakriti, our body constitution, it can't be changed, because it had already happened in our mother's womb. When we are in our mother's womb, it is already formed with the specific prakritis. So example, I have vata kapha prakriti. So like this, we can't, if I want to change, I don't want vata, I want pitta to be in my constitution, I can't change that. But I can change these sattvika, rajasika and tamasika. Our mental gunas can be changed, our mental constituents, or we can change our mental health. It is all in our hands and in our food and in our thinking. It is there. We can change our mental constitution. So these three, as I told you, rajas and tamas can be doshas, and these are gunas. We will see how these gunas are there. Satvika guna means it has a purity, divinity in divinity. It can be directly correlated with spirituality quality or divine qualities. Like the person having satvika guna, he will be having constant mind, balanced mind, and he will be having service oriented character, and he'll be good at everyone, and harmony. He'll be at peace. If we be with him, it will be very pleasant. These are the Satvika Gunas persons. When Rajasika Gunas persons, they are more kind of passionate, active kind of things. The persons who are having Rajasika Guna, they have more passion and desire in them. And sometimes Tamasika Guna, it is all about ignorance, darkness, just laziness, gloomy, and just dullness. And these all having each activities in our body. For example, because of Tamasa Guna only, we get sleep. So these are all having its own qualities. But with ahara, if we increase these gunas, these two can convert into doshas. So in Chanda Yoga Upanishad, they tell ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi, sattva shuddhau smrutihi, smruti dhruva, smruti lambe sarva granthina vipra mokshaha. What that meaning is, ahara shuddha. If you take shuddha ahara, our sattva here is mind, manas, will become shuddha. If our mind becomes shuddha, we can constantly remember God. If we constantly remember God, we will become free from all our bonds. At last, that is what we attain moksha. So ahara is the base. If you have pure food, you can attain moksha easily. So this is the as I'm talking about ahara and spirituality, this is the importance of having pure and sattvika aharas. Sattvika ahara. Sattvika ahara means what? Like what are all called as sattvika, what ahara is called as rajasika, and what ahara is called as tamasika. Sattvika ahara, these will be in a natural form, and these will be having some moisture content. These will be having pleasantness, and these, if we take this ahara, it will give us ayush, lifespan. It will give the purity of mind. It will give you strength. It will give you health. It will give you sukha. It will give you delightness. All these are the qualities of sattvika ahara if we take sattvika ahara. And by taking sattvika ahara, as I had told you, ojas, the essence of all dhatus, it will get formed easily. If you take sattvika ahara, the ojas will be formed easily. So the secret is, if you want to increase your immunity, take sattvika ahara. And these are medhya, what we can call as medhya. The dhi, dhruti, smruti of our mind will be increased, like cognitive skills, learning, retentioning, memory of the brain will increase by taking sattvika ahara. That's why those people will be having balanced mind. Sattvika aharas, as we can see, all fruits, fresh vegetables, and milk, ghee. When I call ghee in all my speech, it is only cow ghee. Cow ghee is shrestha. Milk means cow milk, no other milks, not packet milk, tetra packed, or like what all now available other than cow milk, not that one. What I am talking is cow milk and cow ghee. And all the foods like healthy foods, and even the cooking process of food is considered whether it is satvika or not. If you cook with lots of masala, for example, if you take vegetables, we think that it is satvika, but if we add lots of masalas into it, it will become rajasika. And if you have the same cooked food after 6 to 8 hours, it will become tamasika. The same food, all this difference we should know. If you have a simple cooking like boiling vegetables or fry it and eat it, yes, with lots of masala, it will be a rajasika, and after so much of time it will be a tamasika. Same exactly for fruits also. If you cut an apple or a guava or any fruit like that, only if you eat, it is satvika. If you add some chaat masala, pepper, salt, it will become rajasika. And if you keep it in fridge or when you have opened it and had it so much of after so much of time, it will become tamasika. So it's in your hands whether the food which you are consuming is satvika, tamasika or rajasika. So coming to rajasika aharas, if you take rajasika type of aharas, your mental stability will be like, it will change into having dukkha, sadness, shoka, krodha, kama, irsha. All these things will be seen if you take rajasika aharas. What are those rajasika ahara? Too much butter, too much bitter, too much bitter, too much sour, too much salty, very hot, pungent, dry, and spices, lots of spices, and these all will cause to diseases, grief diseases, and all this jealousy, everything, what all bad, those all will be seen in our nature or our in our manas. And this will be having, rajasika will be having pitta and agni properties will be more, and this you can use as a good food for tamasika persons. If you want to take out tamasika guna in your body, you can add little bit of rajasika. Then the activeness or passion in the tamasika guna nature person, it will increase, and it will cause, by taking rajasika ahara for more days, it will cause hyperacidity, irritability, hypertension, peptic ulcers, anxiety, insomnia, so many whatnot, etc. It includes all the refined grains, sour food, and deep fried food, excess salt, as I told you, excess spices, salt, junk, tea, coffee, junk foods, green chilies, etc. Tamasika ahara. Tamasika ahara, if you have tamasika ahara, it will lead you into the laziness, moha, one delusion, and your mental will be like constant, stable, no creativity, no ideas will come. And what all is the tamasika ahara? It makes you dull, it makes you procrastinate whatever you're thinking to do, and kind of sorry. Tamasika ahara examples, those are stale food, junk food, polluted food, impure food, and the foods kept in the refrigerator and which is kept overnight, which has altered its taste, contaminated. All these are tamasika ahara. The preservatives, packed foods, and intoxicating foods what we are getting outside, all these are the examples for tamasika ahara. So lastly, take home message is, include satvika ahara in your food to increase immunity or ojas, as I told you, and to be good and to get the satvika guna of this purity, divinity quality. By taking satvika diet and lifestyle and being a good person, showing gratitudeness, it will increase our divinity quality, and we'll be towards our main aim of our life is moksha, we can attain moksha easily with sattvika gunas in our nature. Thank you.